Intimidation. Many say the talent is underpowered. Many say it's because of the cap on Intimidation. Or is it something else? In this video, we will be talking about Intimidation and, in my opinion, why it is weak, and hopefully come up with ideas to make the talent better. Let's start off with what it does. The talent increases the range and the power of Intimidation you give to others, being that more Intim damage, which is their comfort damage, to enemies, and gives group members more comfort. This does have a cap per dinosaur though, that being, one dinosaur can only do a max of -50 comfort, as well as only 30% more comfort to allies. This is per dinosaur, so if you have more dinosaurs have this talent, it will increase. The talent itself is a passive area of effect, meaning you invest and forget. Now let's talk about the benefits of Intimidation. Draining the enemy's comfort means they heal much slower, as well as buffing your allies' comfort, which increases their healing. The more comfort you drain from the enemy, the more damage they'll take from comfort, meaning that eventually they'll take damage over time, which is very strong in this sort of game. The strongest way to use Intimidation from when this video is being released is using it to buff your allies' comfort. You get a decently sized boost to healing when you're at 60 to 80 comfort than you are at 50 comfort. Intimidation is the king of long fights. Buff your teammates and weaken the enemies. Now I'll be telling you the reason why Intimidation isn't as good as you think it would be. Part of it might be the cap, but I don't believe it's the cap. The problem is Intimidation is countered by 5 different things. 2 of them you can get just by playing the game. I will be listing them for you guys. Resilience, giving a flat increase to comfort inside and outside of combat. Bias, just generally giving you more comfort. Friendship grades, increasing comfort near friends. Intimidation even counters itself, giving a buff to allies. And for the obvious one, stress resistance, which is a direct counter to Intimidation. All of these counter Intimidation, and it's the one reason people say Intimidation is useless. Because even with 5 invested into Intim, it barely does anything to enemies' comfort, due to so many comfort increasing things. I will say though, Resilience is the worst one, as if you had 3 out of 3 in Resilience, you get a flat 20 comfort. That's enough to make Intim laughable. No need for stress resistance. Now let's talk about what I would do to make this talent more useful. I think the cap should stay for both enemy and allies, but make the Intimidation talent more useful. And I don't just mean increasing its power per point. I would like to make it so the more points you put into Intimidation, the more benefits you'll get. So let's follow the theme of other talents. With 3 points or more invested, you'll get good benefits that will help Intim enemies. Let's start with 3 points invested. When you have 3 points invested into Intimidation, you will deactivate Resilience and Comfort Bias. Both Resilience and Comfort Bias shouldn't affect combat, so making 3 out of 3 Intimidation deactivate these will make it a more efficient perk. Now with the inherits, it's hard to say because I don't want to make Intimidation a completely overpowered talent. I was going to go with things like deactivate friendship, but I don't really want to do this anymore because you want to be rewarded with staying with your friends a long time. Stress resistance will be untouched because it is a natural counter to Intimidation. Now I have 2 options for when you have 5 in Intimidation. One is less busted, which is just increasing the power that you have when you have 5 Intimidation. But this next one might be a bit overpowered, but it will stop people from sitting nearby. And that is, if you have 5 Intimidation, it will ignore walls and obstructions so people can't just heal nearby. Reason I thought about this is because even when playing Koa, if you have your back to a wall or a rock, people get hit and they'll just sit behind that wall or rock and you can't do anything about it. So making it stay even when they're behind a rock means they have to be pushed away. But this could be overpowered, so it's a bit 50-50 from me. And here is a very, very unpopular opinion. Intimidation shouldn't buff allies' comfort. And the reason for this is because Intim counters itself in that sense. And I think it would be a bit too strong, to the point where every group member would use it. Why do I want to do these sorts of changes? Well, this is to make Intim talent more of a good pick than what it is now. It's currently a talent that no one or a small amount of people will pick because there's just better options. This change will hopefully be taking away what makes Intim weak and make it a worthwhile talent without it breaking the boundaries of the caps. Because in my opinion, what's the worst thing for Intimidation is Resilience and Comfort Bias, as they both completely counter it. As for making 5 Intimidation ignore walls, this is just to prevent people from sitting behind objects to counter it, and to make it an actual problem in fights. And the reason why I want the comfort to allies removed is to prevent herds from abusing it, so this game becomes less of a number game. I wouldn't mind, however, to choose to increase your comfort damage you do to people, or to completely remove the intimidation and only keep buffing your allies' comfort. This would be a choice the allies would get if the devs wanted to do this. Right, that's the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed the take that I had on intimidation. I know the cap on intimidation is one of the problems people has with intimidation, but I generally feel it was needed, as it wasn't really fun to walk up to a dinosaur and have zero comfort within a few minutes. Obviously you can disagree with me in the comments, but please be respectful to others' opinions, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.